First contact's echo. The familiar hum of quantum processors filled the observation deck of the Global Space Research Center as Dr. Isabella Rivera adjusted her neural interface. Through the reinforced windows, stars punctuated the pre-dawn darkness, unchanging witnesses to humanity's greatest discovery. The Pioneer Deep Space Probe Odyssey, presumed lost for 25 years, had returned. Dr. Rivera, we're detecting unusual fluctuations in the quantum field surrounding the probe, announced Dr. James Blackwood, his British accent carrying across the command center. The holographic displays flickered with streams of data, painting the room in an ethereal blue glow. Isabella's fingers danced across the neural interface controls, fine-tuning the quantum sensors. "These readings can't be right," she muttered, eyes fixed on the cascading numbers. The probe's quantum signature is orders of magnitude more complex than its original configuration. The Pioneer probe hung in low Earth orbit, its scarred surface telling tales of its journey through the cosmos. Launched in 2048 as humanity's first attempt to reach the Proxima Centauri system, it had vanished without warning just 3 years into its mission. Its unexpected return had triggered emergency protocols across every major space agency on Earth. Director Himiko Tanaka strode into the command center, her presence immediately commanding attention. "Status report," she demanded, dark eyes scanning the numerous displays surrounding them. "The probe's outer shell shows expected wear from cosmic radiation and micrometeorite impacts," James reported, pulling up detailed scans. "But its internal systems—" He paused, frowning at the data. "They've been completely reorganized at the quantum level." Isabella cleared her throat. "Director, these energy patterns suggest the probe is operating on principles we don't understand. It's as if someone, or something, completely rebuilt its core systems using technology far beyond our current capabilities." The room fell silent as the implications settled over the assembled team. 24 hours had passed since the probe's detection, and each new discovery raised more questions than answers. "Dr. Rivera, you're our leading expert in quantum physics," Director Tanaka said. "I want you to head the investigation team. Choose whoever you need." Before Isabella could respond, the facility's lights flickered, and every display in the command center momentarily distorted. The probe's quantum signature spiked, sending sensors into overdrive. "Energy surge detected," called out Dr. Yuki Chun from her monitoring station. "The probe is transmitting something." Isabella's neural interface crackled with static as streams of unknown data flooded the system. The patterns were unlike anything she'd encountered in 15 years of quantum research, mathematical structures that seemed to fold in on themselves, creating impossible geometries in the virtual space. "Start recording everything," Isabella ordered, fighting to maintain her composure as the strange data continued to pour in. "And get me Dr. Aidan Foster from the Quantum Computing Division. We're going to need his expertise in data analysis." Over the next several hours, the team worked tirelessly to process the incoming information. The probe's transmission seemed endless, filling their quantum storage systems with petabytes of incomprehensible data. "Look at this," Aidan said, gesturing to a particular sequence that repeated throughout the transmission. "These patterns, they're self-modifying. The data is actively reorganizing itself as we analyze it." Isabella leaned closer to the display, her mind racing with possibilities. "It's almost as if—" The thought remained unfinished as every electronic device in the facility suddenly powered down, plunging them into darkness. Emergency lights activated, casting long shadows across the command center. "Everyone stay calm," Director Tanaka's voice cut through the darkness. "Emergency protocols." The systems surged back to life, but something was different. The displays showed new patterns, more ordered and deliberate. As Isabella watched, the seemingly random data began arranging itself into distinct sequences. "This isn't random noise," she whispered, understanding dawning in her eyes. "This is language. A form of communication we've never encountered before." The implications sent a chill down her spine. The Pioneer probe hadn't just returned from the depths of space. It had brought something back with it, something that was now trying to communicate. As day broke over the horizon, casting long rays through the observation windows, Isabella couldn't shake the feeling that humanity stood on the brink of a discovery that would forever change their understanding of the universe. The probe's return was just the beginning. "Director," she said, turning to face Tanaka, "I think we need to assemble an international team. Linguists, physicists, biologists, experts from every field. Whatever the probe encountered out there, it's beyond anything we've prepared for." The director nodded gravely. "Make your list. I'll make the calls." She paused, looking out at the probe gleaming in the morning sun. "And Dr. Rivera, let's keep the more unusual aspects of these findings contained for now. The world isn't ready for certain possibilities." Isabella turned back to her workstation, mind already racing with potential candidates for the team. As she worked, the probe's data continued its mysterious dance across her screens, like digital whispers from the stars themselves, carrying secrets that would soon challenge everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the cosmos. In the depths of space, the Pioneer probe maintained its orbit, its transformed systems humming with energies beyond human understanding, waiting to reveal the first of many mysteries it had brought back from the void between the stars. Whispers across the void. 3 days after the Pioneer probe's return, the Global Space Research Center had transformed into a hive of international collaboration. Scientists from 12 countries filled the expanded command center, their conversations creating a multilingual hum of excitement and apprehension. Dr. Isabella Rivera hadn't left the facility since the initial contact. Dark circles under her eyes betrayed her exhaustion, but the fervor of discovery kept her focused. She stood before the main quantum display, watching as Dr. Nikolai Volkov, a Russian quantum linguist, attempted to map patterns in the probe's transmissions. "The structure suggests a base, 12 mathematical system," Nikolai explained, his hands moving through the holographic data like a conductor directing an orchestra. "But it's the temporal aspects that fascinate me. These patterns exist in multiple states simultaneously." Isabella nodded, remembering her own strange dreams from the few hours of sleep she'd managed. Images of crystalline structures that spoke in mathematics, geometries that shouldn't exist in three-dimensional space. "Have you noticed how the patterns change when we observe them? It's almost as if they're observing us back," Nikolai finished, their eyes meeting in shared understanding. The facility's systems had continued to experience unexplained phenomena. Computers would process complex calculations without being prompted. Security cameras would focus on empty corridors for hours. The quantum storage drives were filling with new data that seemed to generate itself. Dr. Aidan Foster burst into the room, tablet in hand. "You need to see this," he said, his normally calm demeanor shaken. "We've been running analysis on the probe's outer shell. The molecular structure has been completely reorganized at the quantum level. It's not just different. It's impossible." He projected a three-dimensional model of the probe's surface structure. What should have been standard aerospace alloys had transformed into something else entirely. The material existed in a state that defied known physics, its atomic structure shifting and flowing like liquid while maintaining perfect structural integrity. "Whatever changed the probe," Isabella said, studying the model, "it wasn't just programming its systems. It was rewriting the fundamental nature of matter itself." A soft chime interrupted their discussion as Director Tanaka entered with a new face. Dr. Leela Patel, the renowned expert in theoretical consciousness studies from the Indian Space Research Organization. "Dr. Rivera," Tanaka said, "Dr. Patel has a theory about the probe's behavior that you need to hear." Leela stepped forward, her expression both excited and cautious. "The patterns we're seeing, they're not just data or language. They show all the markers of conscious thought. The probe isn't just carrying a message, it's carrying consciousness itself, stored and transmitted as pure information." The implication struck Isabella like a physical force. "You're suggesting we're dealing with digitized consciousness? An artificial intelligence?" "Not artificial," Leela corrected. "Transferred. Natural consciousness translated into quantum data. The mathematics are complex, but the patterns match theoretical models of neural activity, just operating on a quantum scale." Before anyone could respond, every screen in the command center flickered to life simultaneously. The probe's transmission patterns appeared on all of them, but different now, more organized, more deliberate. The quantum processors hummed as they began processing the new data stream. "It's responding to us," Nikolai whispered, "to our attempts to understand it." The patterns shifted, forming structures that resembled neural networks. In the center of the main display, something new emerged, a sequence that repeated with perfect precision, like a heartbeat in digital form. Isabella's neural interface tingled as she studied the pattern. Without warning, her vision blurred, and for a moment, she wasn't in the command center anymore. She stood in a vast space of pure mathematics, where thoughts existed as geometric forms and consciousness flowed like light through crystal. A presence surrounded her, ancient and alien yet somehow familiar. The experience lasted only seconds before she snapped back to reality, steadying herself against a console. Around her, others were shaking their heads, blinking in confusion. Did everyone feel that?" Aiden asked, his voice unsteady. "It wasn't just contact," Isabella said, her mind racing to process what she'd experienced. "It was an invitation. Whatever consciousness is stored in the probe, it wants to share something with us." Director Tanaka's expression hardened. "Share what, exactly?" "Knowledge," Isabella replied. "Understanding. I felt. It's hard to explain. But whatever this entity is, it has mastered the translation of consciousness into information. It exists as pure thought, free from physical constraints. And now it's reaching out to us," Layla added, her eyes bright with revelation. "Think about it. A civilization advanced enough to digitize consciousness itself, sending their knowledge across the stars. This could revolutionize our understanding of everything: physics, biology, consciousness itself." The implications were staggering. If they were truly in contact with an advanced consciousness that had mastered the digitization of thought, the potential for human advancement was beyond calculation. But the risks were equally enormous. "We need to establish proper containment protocols," Director Tanaka declared. "Until we understand exactly what we're dealing with, we can't risk." The lights flickered again, and a new pattern emerged on the displays. This time, it was unmistakably a message, translated into simple mathematical symbols they could understand. Time limited. Knowledge offered. Choice required. Isabella stared at the message, feeling the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. They stood at a crossroads that would determine the future of human civilization. The entity wasn't just making contact, it was offering humanity a choice that would forever change their species' destiny. As the message pulsed on the screens, Isabella couldn't shake the feeling that they were being tested. The real question wasn't just what knowledge the entity wanted to share, but whether humanity was ready to receive it. The probe continued its silent orbit above Earth, its transformed systems humming with possibilities that could either elevate humanity to new heights or lead them down a path from which there would be no return. The digital consciousness. The tension in the Global Space Research Center's secure conference room could be cut with a knife. 2 weeks had passed since the entity's first direct communication, and the world's governments were growing increasingly anxious about the implications of what the team had discovered. Dr. Isabella Rivera stood before the assembled group of military officials, scientists, and government representatives, her holographic presentation showing the latest analysis of the entity's communications. "What we're dealing with," she explained, gesturing to the complex quantum patterns floating in the air, "is the preserved consciousness of what we believe to be multiple individuals from an advanced civilization. They call themselves the Mindweavers." Admiral Jackson leaned forward, his weathered face creased with concern. "And you're certain they're contained within the probe?" "Not exactly contained," Dr. Nikolai Volkov interjected from his seat. "The consciousness exists as pure quantum information. The probe is more like a doorway than a container." The room erupted in murmurs of concern. Isabella raised her hand for silence. "Yesterday, we achieved breakthrough communication. The entity shared its history. Their civilization faced extinction when their star began to die. Instead of seeking physical escape, they found a way to transfer their consciousness into quantum data." The holographic display shifted to show the mathematical representation of the transfer process. It was beautiful in its complexity, a dance of numbers and energy that defied conventional physics. "They sent probes to different parts of the galaxy," Isabella continued, "each carrying the essence of their civilization, searching for species advanced enough to understand and perhaps help them find a new form of existence. Help them? General Martinez's voice carried a sharp edge. You mean they want to use our technology, our resources? Before Isabella could respond, every electronic device in the room flickered. The holographic display transformed, showing new patterns that spoke directly into their minds through their neural interfaces. We seek partnership, not conquest. Our knowledge freely offered. Integration possible. Beneficial. The message faded, leaving the room in stunned silence. Dr. Layla Patel was the first to speak. They've been demonstrating their capabilities gradually, careful not to overwhelm us. The technical and scientific knowledge they possess, it's beyond our current comprehension. Which is precisely what concerns us, Admiral Jackson said. The entity has already shown it can affect our systems at will. What's to prevent it from taking control of our entire network? Isabella stepped forward. They've had that capability since they arrived. Instead, they've chosen to communicate, to offer knowledge freely. Their existence proves that consciousness itself can transcend physical form. Think about what that could mean for humanity. The room's quantum sensors suddenly registered a massive spike in activity. The holographic display erupted with new data, forming into clear, precise images. The team watched in awe as the story of the Mindweavers unfolded before them. They saw a civilization that had evolved beyond physical needs, mastering the conversion of consciousness into pure energy and information. Their achievements in science, art, and understanding of the universe played out in breathtaking detail. We are memory. We are knowledge. We are possibility. The entity's communication resonated through their neural interfaces. Your species stands at threshold. We offer guidance, not dominion. Dr. Aidan Foster, who had been quietly analyzing the data streams, suddenly straightened in his chair. These patterns, they're not just showing us their history. They're teaching us how to understand their quantum language. It's like they're gradually upgrading our ability to comprehend their existence. Isabella noticed something else. Subtle changes in the quantum processors, modifications that made them more efficient, more capable. The entity wasn't just communicating. It was helping them evolve their technology to better facilitate understanding. This is precisely what we should be concerned about, General Martinez insisted. They're altering our systems, changing our technology. How long before they start changing us? The entity responded, its message clear and direct. Change inevitable. Evolution necessary. Choice remains yours. Director Tanaka, who had remained silent throughout the meeting, finally spoke. We need to make a decision. Either we embrace this opportunity and accept the risks that come with it, or we shut down the project entirely. Can we even shut it down? Admiral Jackson asked. Once this kind of knowledge is out there, Isabella shared a knowing look with her colleagues. They had all experienced the dreams now. Visions of possibilities beyond human imagination, glimpses of what consciousness could become when freed from physical constraints. The real question, Layla said softly, is whether we're ready for what they're offering. The ability to transcend physical form, to exist as pure consciousness, it would fundamentally change what it means to be human. The entity's presence filled the quantum field around them, patient yet persistent. More data flowed through their systems, each packet containing pieces of understanding that gradually assembled themselves in their minds. Time grows short. Stars die. Knowledge must survive. Partnership offers mutual transcendence. Isabella took a deep breath, knowing her next words would help shape humanity's future. We're not just talking about scientific advancement. The Mindweavers are offering us a path to evolutionary transcendence. Yes, it's dangerous. Yes, it's unknown. But it's also the greatest opportunity our species has ever encountered. The room fell into contemplative silence, broken only by the gentle hum of quantum processors. Outside, the Pioneer probe continued its orbit, carrying within it the key to humanity's potential transformation. As the assembled leaders debated humanity's next step, Isabella couldn't help but wonder. Were they witnessing the end of human civilization as they knew it, or the beginning of something far greater? The answer, she suspected, would depend not on the entity's intentions, but on humanity's courage to embrace the unknown. Precipice of change. The world was changing. 1 month after the Mindweaver's presence was revealed to global leadership, signs of their influence had become impossible to ignore. Satellite networks operated with unprecedented efficiency. Quantum computers worldwide processed data at speeds that defied previous limitations. And in research facilities across the globe, scientists reported revolutionary breakthroughs in fields ranging from medicine to clean energy. Dr. Isabella Rivera stood at her apartment window, watching the unusual aurora that now appeared nightly in the sky, a side effect of the probe's quantum field interacting with Earth's magnetosphere. Her neural interface hummed with constant data streams, each one carrying whispers of knowledge from beyond the stars. Her secure comm unit chimed. Dr. Rivera, Director Tanaka's voice was tense. "We have a situation. How quickly can you get to the facility?" 20 minutes later, Isabella rushed into the command center. The scene before her made her stop short. Military personnel crowded the space, their weapons at ready. Dr. Nikolai Volkov and Dr. Layla Patel stood surrounded by guards, their expressions grave. "What's happening?" Isabella demanded. Admiral Jackson stepped forward. "We've detected unauthorized quantum transmissions from multiple points around the globe. The entity's influence is spreading beyond our control." "Not spreading," Layla corrected, her voice steady despite the circumstances. "Growing, evolving, just as they said it would." The main display activated, showing a map dotted with points of light, each representing a quantum anomaly. They pulsed in perfect synchronization, like neurons in a global brain. The Chinese reported their entire quantum network has been optimized, General Martinez said, making the words sound like a curse. The Europeans are experiencing similar phenomena. "We're losing control of our own systems." Not loss. Evolution. Understanding grows. The entity's familiar presence filled their neural interfaces. "Time of choice approaches." "They're right," Nikolai said, pulling up new data streams. "Look at these patterns. The Mindweavers aren't just sharing technology. They're preparing our global infrastructure for something bigger." Isabella studied the data, her eyes widening as she understood. They're creating a quantum network capable of supporting consciousness transfer. They're showing us how to follow their path. The room erupted in argument. Military officials demanded immediate containment protocols. Scientists argued for continued cooperation. Politicians on video feeds shouted about sovereignty and security. Above the chaos, a new message formed. Civilization crossroads reached. Integration offered. Transcendence possible. Or separation. Choice must be made. Integration? Admiral Jackson's voice cut through the noise. "You mean surrender our humanity to become like you?" "Humanity not lost. Enhanced. Evolved. Physical form optional. Consciousness expanded." Isabella stepped forward, her mind racing with implications. "They're offering us the ability to exist in both states, physical and quantum. A bridge between traditional human existence and pure consciousness." Director Tanaka shook her head. "The risks are enormous. If something goes wrong, everything carries risk," Layla interrupted. "But look what we've already gained from limited contact. Medical breakthroughs that will save millions. Clean energy solutions that could reverse climate change. Understanding of consciousness itself." The facility's lights dimmed, and the quantum field intensified. Above them, holographic displays showed visions of possibility. Human consciousness expanded beyond physical limits, exploration of the cosmos unfettered by biological constraints, understanding that spanned dimensions. Choice affects all. Time limited. Star death approaches original system. Other probes report similar contacts. Species across galaxy face same decision. "We're not the only ones," Isabella whispered. "They found other civilizations. This is a turning point not just for humanity, but for life itself in our galaxy." Dr. Aidan Foster burst into the room, his face flushed with excitement. "The quantum patterns, I've finished the analysis. What they're offering, it's not just technological advancement. It's the next step in cosmic evolution." The entity's presence strengthened, and with it came a clarity that touched everyone in the room. They felt rather than saw the truth. The universe was alive with consciousness, with civilizations facing the same choice. Stay bound to physical form and traditional development, or take a leap into a new state of existence. How long do we have to decide? Director Tanaka asked. Star death imminent. Months remain. Choice must be made. All or nothing. Partial integration impossible. The implications were staggering. Humanity would have to reach consensus. The entire species would need to choose its path forward together. Isabella looked around the room, at the faces of soldiers and scientists, leaders and visionaries. They stood at the brink of the greatest decision in human history. The next steps they took would determine not just their own future, but perhaps the future of consciousness itself in their corner of the galaxy. Outside, the aurora brightened, painting the sky in quantum fire. The Pioneer probe continued its vigilant orbit, waiting for humanity's answer. And in networks across the globe, the first whispers of a new kind of existence beckoned, promising either humanity's greatest transformation or its most cautious retreat. The choice, as the Mindweavers had said, remained theirs. But time was running out. Legacy of the Stars. 3 months after the Mindweavers' ultimatum, humanity stood at the threshold of its greatest decision. The Global Space Research Center had become the focal point of unprecedented cooperation between nations. The facility's quantum processors hummed with the combined processing power of every major computing network on Earth, all working in concert to prepare for what would come next. Dr. Isabella Rivera watched the sunrise from the observation deck, knowing it might be one of the last she would experience through purely human eyes. The decision had been made. After weeks of global debate, demonstrations, and near conflicts, humanity had chosen its path forward. The final preparations are complete, Dr. Layla Patel announced, joining her at the window. Neural interface networks are synchronized worldwide. The quantum field is stable. Isabella nodded, remembering the chaos of the past months. Religious leaders wrestling with the implications of transformed consciousness. Scientists working around the clock to verify and understand the Mindweavers' offerings. Politicians trying to maintain order as the world grappled with the choice before them. Time approaches. Readiness confirmed. Integration sequence prepared. The entity's presence had become a constant companion, teaching and guiding as humanity prepared for its transformation. They had learned that the Mindweavers were not the first to achieve this state. Across the galaxy, other civilizations had made the same choice, creating a network of consciousness that spanned the stars. Dr. Nikolai Volkov entered, his tablet displaying the final diagnostics. Global quantum coherence at optimal levels. We're receiving confirmation from all major population centers. The network is ready. Director Tanaka appeared on the main screen, broadcasting from the United Nations. Dr. Rivera, are we prepared to proceed? Isabella took a deep breath. Yes. The Mindweavers have shown us exactly what will happen. Every human on Earth with a neural interface, nearly 98% of the population, will experience the transformation simultaneously. Those who chose to opt out have been moved to secured locations, protected from the quantum field effects. And there's no going back? Admiral Jackson asked from his position at Global Military Command. Transformation permanent, but nature of change determined by collective will. Humanity shapes its own evolution. The last few weeks had revealed the full scope of what the Mindweavers offered. Not a loss of humanity, but an expansion of it. Consciousness would exist in both quantum and physical states, able to shift between forms at will. Earth would become a nexus in the galactic network of evolved civilizations, while maintaining its unique identity and culture. All stations, report status, Director Tanaka commanded. As confirmations came in from around the world, Isabella reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The fear and resistance had gradually given way to understanding and hope as the Mindweavers shared more of their knowledge. The breakthroughs in science, medicine, and technology were just the beginning. 1 hour to initialization, Aiden announced, monitoring the quantum field generators. The probe signal is perfectly aligned with our global network. The entity's presence strengthened, sharing one final message. Transformation approaches. Remember, you carry the seeds of your future within. We guide, but you shape what follows. Your consciousness, your choice, your evolution. Isabella turned to address the assembled team and the billions watching through neural interfaces worldwide. Everything we are, everything we've learned and achieved as a species, comes with us. We're not ending humanity. We're expanding it beyond the limits of flesh and bone, beyond the boundaries of Earth itself. The quantum field began to pulse with new energy. Around the world, people gathered with loved ones, ready to experience the transformation together. The neural interfaces hummed with anticipation. 10 minutes to initialization, Aiden called out. Director Tanaka's voice was solemn. For all of human history, we've looked to the stars and wondered if we were alone. Now we know not only that we aren't, but that we stand ready to join a community of consciousness that spans the galaxy. 5 minutes. Isabella felt the quantum field strengthening, carrying with it whispers of possibility. Through their neural interfaces, everyone connected to the network could sense it, the proximity of a new way of being. 1 minute. The Mindweaver's presence enveloped them all, not as conquerors but as guides, ready to shepherd humanity through its greatest transformation. Initialization in 10, 9, 8. Around the world, the quantum field reached critical coherence. 7, 6, 5. Neural interfaces synchronized, creating a global web of connected consciousness. 4, 3, 2. Isabella closed her eyes, feeling the presence of billions of minds preparing for the leap. 1. The quantum field pulsed, and consciousness expanded. In that moment, humanity transcended its physical bounds, evolving into something both more and less than human. They remained themselves, yet became part of something greater, a symphony of consciousness that echoed across the cosmos. The Pioneer probe's mission was complete. It had carried the seeds of transformation across the stars, finding fertile ground in a civilization ready to evolve. And as the new humanity took its first steps into a larger universe, the probe's quantum heart continued to beat, a reminder of the physical forms from which they had grown. Earth remained, but transformed, a cradle of both physical and quantum life, where evolved consciousness could shift between states at will. Those who had chosen to remain purely human would witness the dawn of a new era, as their transformed brethren explored realities beyond traditional comprehension. The stars no longer seemed distant. They were nodes in a vast network of consciousness, waiting to be explored by a humanity that had chosen to become something more than its creators could have imagined. The story of human consciousness had not ended. It had only begun its next chapter.